was the new farmer on the farm. He had just moved in and already completed his first task, fixing a broken fence near the pasture. He was proud and ready for more.
Good job.
The next morning, Barney climbed onto his tractor and set off to check the farm, to see if another fence might need fixing. As he drove across the meadow, something caught his eye. Lying in the grass was a large white egg. It wasn't in a nest, and there were no signs of any animals nearby. Barney stepped closer and looked carefully. The egg moved slightly.
What are you doing here?
He murmured to himself. Barney didn't want to leave the egg all alone out in the open.
What if it got cold? Or if something stepped on it by accident?
He knew he had to act. He carefully drove back to the barn and grabbed a few big bundles of soft, dry hay. On his trailer, he made a cozy nest, warm, safe, and cushioned from every side. When everything was ready, Barney gently picked up the egg and placed it exactly in the center of the hay. Then he drove it to a warm shed, where it would be safe from the wind and cold. All day long, Barney kept checking on it. Nothing happened at first, until suddenly crack. A small line appeared, then another, and finally, the egg split open. It was a chick, but not just any chick. It was an ostrich chick, with big curious eyes and soft gray fluff. It blinked at Barney and let out a gentle squeak. Barney was surprised but also relieved. Now it made sense. The egg must have come from the ostrich farm nearby, just across the hill. One of their birds probably laid the egg a bit too far from home, and no one noticed it was missing. The little ostrich looked healthy and full of energy. It stood up on wobbly legs and immediately started following Barney around like he was its new best friend.
Well, I guess you found the right farm after all, little one. Let's get you back where you belong.
After a while they reached the neighboring farm. The chick ran happily toward its family, reuniting with the other ostriches. Barney watched with a warm smile, proud that he could help.
visitors arrived on the farm. The sky was covered with clouds all night long, and in the morning, when the farmer woke up to a new day, he saw an amazing view outside his window. The farmer looked out the window at his farm. The road to the barn, the driveways and paths were completely covered. Everything that had been green yesterday was now covered in a blanket of white. The snow was falling thickly and the wind was whistling through the trees. Although the modern farm machinery did its job, it was too big to handle the tight spaces. Wondering what to do, the farmer suddenly remembered his old red tractor. Without hesitation, he headed for the barn.